Hi there, welcome to English for Hospitality. This is meeting 11. My name is Farah and I am your instructor for the meeting. So, today we are going to talk about understanding cultural differences and customs. As you may know, that in some countries they have different culture. What is okay in Indonesian culture may not be okay in other culture, and vice versa. So, basically, we're going to talk about that today. So, let's start with warming up. Let's take a look at this picture. What this person is doing would have been impossible in Japan. What do you think? Is it true or false? Let's pay attention that this person is wearing his shoes inside the house. Is it true or false? What about this one? What are they doing would have been impossible in Thailand. Pay attention on the gesture of touching people's head, touching someone's head here. Is it true or false? What do you think? So the answer of the two questions in the warming up session, is it okay to wear shoes in Japan? Is it okay to touch people's head in Thailand? The answer is no. It is not okay to wear your shoes inside the house, or it is not okay to touch people's head or hair in Thailand. So, these are some examples of cultural taboos in some countries. In Japan, it is considered rude to wear shoes indoors or in the house. I believe it is also considered rude to wear shoes in Indonesia. Yeah, it's quite the same. In many cultures, it is considered inappropriate to discuss personal hygiene or bodily function in public. I think it is also inappropriate in Indonesia. Yeah, it's quite similar. In some African cultures, it is considered taboo to point with one's finger as it is seen as a sign of aggression. Basically, in Africa, you cannot do this. If you want to point something, you cannot do pointing with fingers, but you can do something like this. I believe it is also similar in Indonesia. We cannot do this, but we can use this. In Thailand, it is considered taboo to touch someone's head as it is seen as the holiest part of the body. Um, yeah, I think in Indonesia, it is also impolite to touch someone's head, but it's not taboo, it's just impolite, yeah? In many cultures, it is considered inappropriate to talk about death or dying. So these are some examples of some cultural taboos in different countries. So if you're planning to go to a certain countries, it is also important to learn about the cultural taboos in the country so that you will not do some cultural inappropriate act. Yeah. So, what about in hospitality industry? In hospitality industry, we must be aware of dietary restrictions of our customers, and then we must understand cultural differences in customer services. There might be some differences in customer service in different countries. We must learn basic phrases in the local language, of course. We must know appropriate business etiquette. We must respect cultural customs, and we must avoid stereotypes or assumptions. We cannot assume, or we cannot do stereotypes on people, especially, for example, um, I, I think this is some stereotype that is happening in Indonesia. They said that bule or Western people are not hygiene. They're not hygiene. So that is basically stereotypes. There are many Western people that is actually practice hygiene. Yeah. So avoid this kind of stereotypes and assumptions in hospitality industry or in daily life. Basically, if you're going to another country. So this is an example of cultural differences. So this is basically a video from YouTube. Someone is explaining the differences between the US and the UK culture. I'm not going to play this video for you. You can just play it by yourself later. I'll link the video on the next video. Yeah, so basically after you finish watching this video, you can watch the video by yourself and take a look at this example and how different it is between the UK and the US. Basically, they are quite similar to us, yeah. They're both English-speaking countries, and um, I believe that most of you are familiar that both are quite a big country, which is quite similar in culture probably, but in fact they are not. They have cultural differences as well, just like us Indonesians with Malaysian people, for example. Yeah. So, these are some examples. Let me move myself down here. I hope it is okay for not being able to see my face for a bit, yeah? Because the slide is quite wordy here. So, here are some examples on how we greet other people around the world. So, handshakes are quite common when we are greeting people in Western countries, especially in Indonesia. It is also okay to do handshake, yeah, to salaman, handshake. Bowing is a tradition greeting in many Asian cultures, such as in Japan. Yeah, I believe that you all know that most people in Japan do bowing a lot. In Korea as well, from the Korean drama. Hugging. Hugging is kind of a warm and friendly greetings in many Latin American and Southern European cultures. Even in other Western cultures as well, it is quite okay to just hug people as a greeting, as a friendly greeting. Kissing on the cheek. It is a common greeting in many European countries. In Indonesia, probably we just do cipika cipiki. Eh? It's not actually like kissing, like using your lip, but also like it's just touching your cheek to other people's cheek when we're very close to the person. And usually it's between females, yeah, in Indonesia. Salam, a traditional greeting in many Middle Eastern countries. I think it is also quite familiar in Indonesia. Many Muslim people in Indonesia usually do salam, assalamualaikum, yeah, something like that. And namaste, it's a traditional greeting in India and Nepal. I believe that you're quite familiar. Namaste, yeah. Okay, let's move myself up a bit. Now, let's do group exercise number one. So please work in groups. You can choose your own group. And now, please create a list of gift giving customs in Indonesia that you think are not common in other countries. So think of a tradition where Indonesian like to gift to people, but you think it will be not common in other countries. In what situation? For example, in Western countries, it is usually common to give some gift to people during Christmas celebration. So now let's take a look and think about Indonesian giving gift um, tradition that is not common in other countries. Yeah. So please pause your video here and please go back to Telenolemes, um, discuss with your friends, and upload your answer on Telenolemes. Yeah. So you may pause your video now. Hi, welcome back. Now you're back. Now let's move on to exercise number two. So what you need to do is please read the article. I'll show you the article and I will also link the article on Telenolemes. And in the same group, please answer this question. As an Indonesian, are you surprised that there are people around the world who eat rice using utensils other than spoon? I know that we are all using Indonesian, I mean, we are all using spoon to eat rice, and sometimes we just use our hand. Are you surprised that people around the world actually eating rice using different utensils other than spoon and hand? Please explain your answer and upload your answer on Telenolemes. Now let me show you the article. Yeah, so this is basically Aussie TikToker explains why she converted from fork to spoon to eat rice after living in Malaysia. Yeah, so Western people use fork to eat rice. Okay, so I'll link this article to you and you can read it by yourself basically. Yeah. So that is basically the only two exercises in groups that we need to do for this session. Thank you very much for joining the session. Don't forget to upload your answer and I'll see you on the next session. Bye bye.